call the meeting of the Oconee County Rescue Squad Advisory Commission for April 24th, 2025 to order. Everybody have the minutes in front of them? Had a chance to look those over? Any questions, concerns?
Make a motion to accept.
We have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, I do not see anyone here for public comment. Are there any commission members who have any comments?
I've got, I don't know if now or we go to our actual, region, but I've got a couple members that come that had a couple questions regarding like the, reporting, policy and quarterly checks. Is that something to discuss now or it comes to, my region?
You can do it during region if you want to.
All right, that works.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to committee reports, radio committee.
I have nothing.
Okay. Chief Carroll, do you have anything from radio? Okay. Incentive committee?
I have nothing, but can someone tell me who all is a part of that committee? Myself as well as,
Amber, were you gonna be on the incentive?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Usually it's one member from the Fire Commission, one member from the Rescue Commission, Director Crine, myself, and Chief Smith for the fire.
Okay.
all right.
If I'm wrong on that, I'll get back with you.
And that's for
I'm gonna try to
incentive.
reach out and see if we can possibly.
Is that for
schedule
incentive?
a meeting here and kind of get together and discuss some things.
Gotcha.
Is that basically the formula for each one of the committees? One member from the Rescue Commission, one member from the fire, and then you guys?
It just depends. Training is just
We have two on the
two
training.
on that, but it's mostly just rescue-related training. It doesn't get into the fire department training requirements.
Okay, anything else for incentive? Okay, SOG committee? I don't know that committee has met.
No, we haven't.
No, they're waiting.
They're still waiting
They're
on it.
waiting, they're done, but with putting this new software together, it's on hold. Put them
Okay.
into the right format.
So which, just while we're on the SOG piece, are we still operating off of the 2014 SOG?
Yes.
Okay, training committee, we did not meet this month, so I have nothing to report from that. As far as classes, the schedule for July through December is out. I can send that to you, that I got from Lieutenant Honeycutt. Other than that, is there any news on the EMT class?
You got the dates. Where did I put those? I don't have them in front of me. It's later. It's starting this summer. I'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
But most of the, I think they got emails in on personnel that want to take it.
Okay. Do you have anything else for that? Okay. All right, moving on to Chief Carroll's report.
Hey, good evening, everybody. You got the run stats in front of you. Had the first quarter of calendar year 25 came to a close. Seneca and Salem are both, rescue squads are both hitting at 99%. Oakway has shown improvement. They went up to 82% in month of March and finished out the quarter at 64%. Walhalla staying about the same at just under 50% of their calls. Westminster slightly decreased, they're down to about 55% of their calls. Mountain Rest, who we are, I'll be meeting with them. They are basically non-existent as a squad and response.
How many people do they even have?
That's a good question. Probably 5. I know some of them went and got their physicals today, but it's still the training aspect of it. Making sure they're EMRs and got their emergency responder up to date with CPR and everything else. So I'm gonna be meeting with them, and Commissioner Wilbanks wants to go too. We're gonna set up at their meeting night. Anybody, Kiwi Rescue, still hitting just about 65% around that area. Dive and Special Rescue are all above 80%. Anybody have any questions? New vehicles, the old Rescue 5 F-150 that was replaced by the new unit. That's got it back from getting restriped, and it's just got Oconee Rescue on it, and it'll be at, when I do a couple more things to it, it'll be at Motor Pool. So when you turn a vehicle in, you'll have a vehicle to move your stuff into for repair, to take its place. It does have a couple of little minor issues that need to be taken care of, but we got through those. Rescue 2 unit is in line to get lights installed. Striping's done, everything's there. Just waiting when it gets in line after the sheriff's department vehicles that are in front of it gets done. We'll get the radio and the lights installed. Got an update on the new R3 pickup truck. It's due probably late June for delivery. Anybody have any questions on that? Training. Zach met with all the new squad members who are going to be part of the instructor network for us to teach for ASHI. He'll be with your squads to be able to teach EMR, refresher, CPR, first aid, and any other course they can get certified to teach through ASHI. It'll take a lot of strain of people. I know a lot of people are expiring at the same time, so we're not depleting your squad to go to Westminster to take the class there. You can actually teach it there in your squad building. So, the other classes that are coming up, still having NIMS, I apologize, I left that sheet on the printer. We do have an IS 300 and 400 class at Oconee. Starting, I want to say the 300 was first in June and followed by the IS 400 in July. We do have the large animal rescue class going on right now. There's probably, what do you say, 20 total from the county in it?
From the county, yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
Divided between staff and special rescue and rescue squad members. And that's it on training, unless anybody has anything. Physicals, we talked about that last month. Starting in July, a responder who does not have a physical will not be covered under workman's comp. That info made a big turnaround. We almost had a complete full physical and tonight at Corner Shiloh. 30 spots, we had 27 people signed up. Same thing with Upstate Medical. It's been booked. So if you're coming up and you need to go to Upstate, call Cindy soon because we're already into May booking. The next North Greenville right now tentatively is Monday the 19th of May, and that'll be at Walhalla Rescue Building. Anybody have any questions?
You said May what?
May 19th is a Monday.
That's gonna be the North Greenville, like at 4 o'clock or
Yeah.
starting at 4 o'clock?
All right, incentive, got 5 months left on this year. working through everybody's, rosters now for rescue. Everybody should know when their EMR or their first aid runs out. So with instructors being in the squad, there is no reason for anybody to not have it recertified with the proper dates, okay? And I will get that list out to the chiefs, hopefully at their next meeting coming up next Thursday night, where everybody stands. Anybody have any questions?
For special rescue and dive, you were saying you're gonna have an instructor on part of each team, is that what you were saying earlier?
I think Zach's handling y'all.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, is do I just need to continue talking to Zach?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there going to be another, command class for anybody who has not had that?
You're talking about like 300?
Not positive on that one, I have to get back to you.
You're talking about 300 and 400?
No,
No.
it's a, the
Command,
county
the command training,
accountability.
Oh, the 1 hour
Yeah.
thing?
that should, hopefully I'll have an answer on that for the chiefs at the meeting on next Thursday night. LZs, I guess everybody knows we have almost 200 LZs listed in computers. And half of those are not a good place to land a helicopter. So Chief Smith's got the staff going through, looking with the fire chiefs, looking at each fire area and coming up and revamping that whole LZ list. So we don't have base one sending a helicopter to the closest they think. But it turns out that one's a field of corn right now, and we already told them to go to another one. So make sure we're on the same list. Everybody's list is the same, and they're listening to what the command is saying where to land a helicopter at. Is what we want to work on. Anybody have any questions? And I left off one of the important ones, which was a new reporting system, but I think they're gonna bring that up. So that's all I have unless anybody has questions.
Okay. Anything from Director Crone?
Nothing.
All right, we'll move on to squad updates, Region 1. Justice?
Oh, Rescue 3 said they're doing okay, still working to improve the early hours of response. Rescue 1, they went to Career Center recently, assisted EMT class with the MCI drill, said it went well and was appreciated. Also, I've had a couple members reach out, and I kind of summarized, I want to try to read this real quick, and, you may have a couple answers that we have to get back to. Basically, this kind of summarizes, but it says, there have been multiple instances where there have been 30 to 50 incompleted reports that are come across the span of time a month or greater, and it's understood that some of these are not PCRs. When it occurs, it comes into question whether the squad will receive its quarterly funds, potentially. Another question is, are the chiefs of the volunteer agencies within the county being instructed to follow the rules and guidelines set forth by the South Carolina Department of Health pertaining to completion and submission of these reports as well as county policy? All agencies within the county, whether it's either or paid or volunteer, held to the same standard and answer the same policy. If the chiefs for each agency has been instructed to enforce these policies and be compliant, is not being met, if the chief for each agency has been instructed to enforce these policies and compliance is not being met, as well as being a constant recurring issue, is the chief not held accountable or face at least some kind of mediation or greater? It's hard to believe that there are that many incomplete reports spanning over sometimes greater than 30 days, and after days or weeks pass by, it is fair to say that there's a greater chance that reports are not as accurate or detailed as they should be. Following the state and county policy would help ensure the higher quality of reports and keep the county compliant with the state and its own policy. Now, I don't know if you need me to go back and kinda hit there certain parts, but there was, I guess, just kinda questions in there. Would it be in a, I've noticed it since I've been here, other members reached out, I just kinda summed it up here, just kinda typed it up, cause general conversation, but it's been a reoccurring issue, you know, reports not being completed in a timely manner, sitting in the system for a great amount of time, again, not all of them being PCRs, of course. But there is a guideline saying, when it's, you know, 72 hours, there used to be, you'd have to leave a short form in the ER when you transfer patient care, so on. But I guess the biggest question is, why is it when it comes reoccurring so many times, when it comes around the checks coming up, that we have so many reports that are not completed? Why are they sitting in the system for 2 weeks, 30 days, or even longer? Why is that a recurring issue, and it has to be something that has to continually be mentioned and then stressed that, hey, we're not gonna get our quarterly check, we don't have reports, don't need to get reports done, but it keeps being a recurring issue. I don't think it's a call volume issue, I certainly don't think that's an issue where you can't keep up with doing reports. But there was just a couple members that was trying to figure out why that keeps recurring, and why it has to come down to just reading messages about, hey, we need to get reports done, we're not gonna get our check, or we're not gonna get our money. Whereas it should be, before it even gets to that point, it probably should be something held accountable, or, you know, hey, we got reports and it's already a week over or 2 weeks over that need to be completed. Why would it go so far as to be in 30 days or longer, or, you know, that whenever there's a policy in place for the county, and there's also state, you know, guidelines and policies.
So what you're saying is you want a timeline for the rescue squads to have completed reports for the day?
Basically, why is it a reoccurring issue that there's always constantly multiple reports that are not completed in a timely manner?
Because some members of the rescue squads fail to complete their reports.
Now, who's accountable to make sure that the county's compliant with their own policy as well as state?
Yeah, the chief of the rescue squad.
And then if it goes from past
For
them,
the original person who's responsible for it is a responder running the call.
Yeah,
but who to uphold the county policy?
the chief.
County policy is, right now, is you have to have your reports done to get your quarterly checks. Now, I will put it out weekly. However, I want this board to go with that direction. You have 3 days to finish your calls.
Are you wanting us to make a vote on that, or you wanting us to just uphold that
I don't have it in
current
front of me.
standing, or?
I don't have it in front of me, but I'm, without going to the state level, what does the county policy currently state that your report should be completed? Like,
Should be done by the time
By the end of the
our,
quarter,
do what?
isn't it by the end of the quarter before you can get your check?
By the quarter, but staff is done by your shift, unless it's at the end of the shift, and it has to be done by the next.
so how can you, now, again, I'm saying, some of these have PCRs. So these ones with PCRs, it is this county policy that they can be, it's fine to have that PCR open as long as it's completed by the quarter.
PCRs are within 24 hours.
It's 24 to 74 hours, it needs to be submitted to.
Yes, it has to be, yeah, because the state have to
I
upload
think,
it to the state.
I think what he's
Premise.
asking is what is the current written policy of the county? What is the
Or
count,
following our own policy.
what is written down, I'm assuming this would be written in the SOG currently.
Right. I can't tell you verbatim.
I would have to go back and look.
But we do know if there's a PCR attached for sure, even out of the county guidelines, we know that it's.
Commissioner
72
Justice,
hours.
there is no way to know a PCR is needed until that person who runs the call
Completes it.
completes it. You yourself should know this, unless you fill it out as having the need for a PCR. No one else in this county would know that. So we were leaving upon the responder to do it in a timely fashion.
That was just, it was something brought up by, and
So is this regard to Rescue 1 or Rescue 3?
this was, what was in guard in general, because I'm sure it's not just a Rescue One issue, I'm sure it's more than 180. But it's just knowing that if you're a part of Rescue One, obviously, you know what's going on there more than you do any other agency, but you hear
Right.
conversation, you know that there's issues, with that topic across the board. But I guess my point is, there's so many reports, that many reports that's sitting there. And is it being, the policies that are in place, whether it be county or state, are they being followed and enforced?
You also have to take into effect that there may be duplicate reports. Like
Right.
CAD didn't kick once they started the secondary, so those may be calls that have already been completed. It's just got a duplicate in there. There's two of us at Rescue 5, I can speak for Rescue 5, there's two of us that monitor all the reports, all of our no responses, and we assign them to the individuals. And that way there's accountability. And if we catch a duplicate report, I send it in to him and let him knock it out. That way it is not sitting in that pool or that queue saying we still have these incomplete reports.
Right.
It sounds like this is gonna have to be driven by the chief of the rescue squad to ensure that, kinda like Cody's saying, that there's some kind of accountability there. I'm not as familiar with PCR since Rescue 7 and 8 that we don't typically deal with those, and I'm not on another squad, rescue squad, but I don't, it sounds like,
Do they have anybody that monitors that? It's like, I do all the review. My assistant chief goes in and she'll go in and knock them out and she'll say, okay, we got these numbers of incomplete. Matter of fact, she sent me a list for April. And then I'll go in and check behind them and go in and say, hey, we gotta get these knocked out.
Yeah, they're being reviewed, of
And then
course.
we
that's how you-
review them, and if I review them, and until I review them, if it's still incomplete, that's when I go in and open them up to see whose it is versus CAD. And that way I can assign and say, hey, this has got to get done, you got 24 hours to do it.
But they're obviously being reviewed. That's how you know when it comes, let's get close to a certain time, either the end of the month or come up to a quarter, you start, and it comes up and says, hey, we got this long list that's not done. And even if you didn't have, and I understand PCR, changes a little bit, even if you just had a general call, you have a narrative. There could also still be a lawsuit or something else that comes up with that. And you wanna protect yourself, obviously. I mean, like you said, ultimately, the individual's responsible. But you want to, as long as you sit there, I don't know, I mean, I've worked agencies where I've had 20 or more calls a shift. But I can sit there and run and come back two or three shifts later and remember what I did with all 20 of those calls and be able to document it. And know that it's accurate, to the T like it should be.
Ultimately, it's up to the chief.
So every month, the chiefs gets a list from me, of what calls are open for their agency.
That's correct.
but Cody, I guess my question with when you're reviewing and you have X amount of open reports, what's the commonality between those? Is it the same person that's
No,
leaving them
it may
open,
just
or
be
is
that-
it duplicates, or what do you
There's
see?
been a couple, matter of fact, for April, I just went and done the only thing we've got left open is any kind of like no response calls. Those, me and Kayla are taking care of, because we do all of our no response reports. But for the most part, it's just either there's a late night call and they forgot it, or something like that. It's not necessarily the same person doing it over and over again. You get busy or you run more than one call in a day and you knock out some of them, then all of a sudden you got one you forgot. So we keep track of it to find out, is it night calls, day calls that we're getting forgotten, or what? And that way we can address it with them. And if it becomes a recurring problem with a certain individual, then we pull them in and say, look, you're gonna have to catch up your reports, or you're gonna be suspended until you can get all your reports caught up. Normally, if we get past 3 outstanding, that's when we start taking note. Because if you get 4 or 5, it's easy to forget, and I'm just as guilty as anybody. you know, you come in and go, I only have two, and then next thing you know, you got seven. You're going, oh boy. So we try and go, okay, if I notice there's three of them in there and from the same individual, I'll call them, or I'll text them, say, hey, look, you got three reports, you might want to jump on. But ultimately, it's up to either the chief, assistant chief, or whoever is designated to handle those reports and do it for you.
I will, do some checking on some things and ask some questions and try to have some information at the next meeting. Do you mind sharing that with me, the document you read?
Yeah, I'll share. I've got it, people's talk and text and, you know, that kind of thing, and
Okay.
I normally have to come here, put my notes together, type it up, try to have it organized a little bit, and I know my own experience and, you know, what's going on, and, it's just, I think it's a reoccurring issue that could be resolved, but yeah, we'll get together and I'll get the document or whatever, get it over to you.
Okay. You can just email it to me if you want to.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else from,
No, that's it, thank you.
okay. Region 2, that's Rescue 2 Salem. We've started working on the rehab trailer this week. Dean Jackman is spearheading that project, trying to get that up and going. We do have a breakfast coming up on May 17th. I'll try to get flyers out to everybody for that. Nothing of concern has been brought to my attention with any issues with equipment or anything like that. And then Chief Carroll gave an update on Rescue 6. So that's all I have for those two. Region 3, Andy?
Checked with Chief Land, he said everything's good, they don't have anything for Rescue 4. Rescue 5, we're working on getting our night responses up. We had some members that decided that at 9 o'clock, they shut everything down, I guess. So we're working on that. Had a couple of questions on the new reporting software. As it was explained to me the other day, we have to put them on either a desktop or a laptop. We can't put them on, as far as do reports, through the iPads. And now that was coming from Westminster Fire, because they've been using it for 3 or 4 months now. Says that they can't put the reports in via iPad, has to be on laptop or desktop.
Windows-based system.
So, whereas before, everybody just had their own thing, they did it at home and whatnot. So we really don't have computer equipment at Rescue 5. So is that something the county is going to help us with, or is that something we're gonna have to, somewhere down the road, budget for that we didn't have budgeted?
I think you need to start budgeting for it.
So, as far as that, because when we do that, we're gonna, and they're also concerned, whereas they could do everything at home because ERS was web-based, they could sit at home, do the reports when they got back home. Now they're gonna be having to drive, you know, some folks 8-10 miles or so to come back, all the way back to the station to do the reports, instead of being able to do them when they get back home. The question that I've been asked about that is, can they have this system installed on their personal laptops?
I don't see a reason why they cannot, but I'll double check for sure.
And will it require them to bring the laptop, or is it like at Westminster, I can take mine and load it, sit there while and go through, log into Alpine, go to their tech support, they'll give me a certain code or something, and I can give it to them, and that
Yep.
lets them remote access. Is there going to be still be able to do that? Or will we have to go through the county, bring all their laptops to the county, or have a meeting one night?
It's an individual, each system will get its own file to download to it,
Okay,
and then it's loaded on that computer.
okay, so if, like say for me, if I wanted to get it, I just go to theirs and let them go in and download it. Do I have to tell them that I'm with you, with Oconee County, or?
We're not at that point yet.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because that's the question being asked, is how are they gonna be able to do it on their own computers? Can they go to Alpine and say, look, I'm with Oconee County Emergency Services, and they get a code, let them go in? Or does county IT have to be involved on personal? I know in,
County IT is not involved.
okay.
So-
And that's the question I've been asked, because some people don't, like I said, you know, like I live 8 miles out, no big deal, I'm usually there. But some of them are like, or now we requiring everybody to come all the way back to the station after a call to do the report, or can they get it on their own? And that was one of the big questions that I got asked.
So
All right.
while you're on that subject, I kinda have questions about it too. On Tuesday, our team voted to purchase a laptop for each chief, one for the treasurer and one for the secretary. And I had already brought up that I don't really want a laptop unless I have to have one, but somebody brought up that, well, if you don't have it on like a county laptop and you were to download it on your personal laptop, that your laptop could maybe be FOIA'd. And I'm like, to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, since it's a shared program. It's not like there's files being stored on my computer. It's really just that there's a program being stored on my computer.
And
But
you'll still have the files. Whatever you load will stay on your computer, so those files don't go away. Once you load something on your computer into ERS, you still have those files on your computer.
so you're saying it'll be just like I'm doing now though with my personal computer,
But-
where I have somebody's.
But instead of you going to a web server page, it's connected to your online with that software, but it's downloaded to your system. I mean, it is a software that you unzip the file and load it into your C drive, where it's on your system. It's not web-based, but it still talks back and forth with the main red NMK server, Alpine.
So, I mean, I just have questions about, like, do I really need another laptop or not? Because I have my personal laptop, I have my work laptop, and then I have a third laptop. I don't personally want one of those, but if I have to have one because they may FOIA my personal computer, I mean, I use my computer for pretty much this anyway. That's its main use, so it wouldn't be like heartbreaking if they were to take it, but I mean, it sounds like they could hold it for years at a time if my computer was to get FOIA'd. So I wanted to get those questions answered as far as, cause he's bringing up, you know, downloading this onto multiple people's computers, and I mean, that would be an issue for them as well, if they're saying it's gonna be an issue for me. If there's some way to avoid that and just use a personal computer, that would be nice. And then, yeah, we kinda brought up the iPad thing as well the other night. We weren't really sure on that. It sounds like it won't be able to be on an iPad. It's just, has to be on a
It has to be on a Windows-based.
Windows.
Would that be like a Surface Pro or something like that?
Yeah, if it's a Windows-based tablet like that, you can, as far as I was told.
That
The
would be
only thing you can do, like with iPads and phones, is you can get like the active alerts. You can go in and download or input all your inventory, and you can do truck checks and apparatus checks on the iPad, but that's built through you.
But like I can do that on my phone,
Right.
you're saying, like,
Yeah, but you just cannot you can't enter reporting.
Right.
Any kind of reports,
no, okay.
anything of that nature.
Another question the other night was that, you know, they brought it up, well, this may be able to be FOIA, and I'm like, well, okay, the same program's gonna be downloaded onto your phone essentially, so does that mean they can FOIA my personal cell phone? Cause that's, I don't know, that gets really weird to me.
And that was what they were asking about, is with personal laptops. You know, I get it, but, you know, if there's a chance that they can lose their personal laptops over a call. I'm like you, we do ERS anyway. So
Yeah.
technically can be taken there, but
I guess.
But would they do that, or, because with ERS, the reportings, we just logging in, the reports are on servers elsewhere, so they could FOIA the reports.
Alright,
Well, with this one, if you're saying that all that is still on our personal computer,
I feel like if the data is available elsewhere, I don't know why they would take your, I don't know why they would ever go and take your computer if the data is available elsewhere. Like, if the data is only on your device, I mean, I can see that.
Yeah,
That's why they would wanna dig into it, right? But if it's on a shared,
so once we enter the
Platform, I
report,
don't
it
know.
goes to Alpine's. It's not, that report itself is not actually on our system, it's just a system hardware,
far as I know.
software.
Yes,
Okay,
but it's still, you still access it from your computer, so,
yeah,
but there's no reason, I mean, you can, nobody here's a FOIA expert.
right,
So,
right,
at any time, usually freedom of information covers government organizations, or not personal stuff,
okay.
so.
So the likelihood it'd go to the county first for that report, or what have you, before it ever.
They're asking for the report.
Okay.
yeah.
They're not asking for the computer, it did the report.
Right. I mean, if we could just get the question answered as far as what's the likelihood that they would even take our personal computer, or if if that would even go as far as that, I mean, I'll be satisfied with that. I mean, if it's basically a 0% chance that they're gonna take my laptop for, I mean, then I'd like to not have a third laptop. I'm sure that would save your squad some money too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've heard those concerns and you'll be getting back with everybody about that. Okay, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Raver?
Oh, let's see, the 16 new, EMRs are doing their ambulance runs now and, that are gonna be going out with other people, on calls, with, older members on calls. And other than that, I don't have any other.
Commissioner Alvin?
All right, so for Rescue 7, which is dive, we had 4 new members, join us on Tuesday. We also, have some training coming up May 3rd. May 18th is gonna be a big training plus, Family Day. There was also, some hazmat awareness training that was brought up, it's pertinent for divers to have some hazmat awareness in case we end up on a call that has oil or something in the water, gasoline, whatnot. Also voted to spend some money on the county boats, 701 and 703, but that's still kinda in the works, because there's gotta be some okays from the county if we can do that or not. There's also, a presentation about a towfish replacement, but we're gonna get some more information on that before we vote on that or not. I have a full face mask, training coming up in June. If anybody that is a diver in the county is interested in it, they're more than welcome to go with Chief Sparkman about a full face mask training. Same thing with an open water training. If anybody in the county is needing open water training, interested in that, we're also looking to hold an open water class. And then we talked about Caltopo, with both teams, being a good resource for dive and special rescue. So if you don't know about that, there are some QR codes that I have. I can get those to you guys later. And Aaron Smith has all that information as well. For special rescue, which is Rescue 8, we had 3 new members for special rescue on Tuesday. We did vote to go in with Rescue 4 on buying a new, TV, in that, for that training room to project different things for training up on there, in that little room. I already spoke about the computers, we voted on that. We also, voted to buy a new Stokes tire with, brakes and a handle kit, which is gonna be very helpful throughout the county. This new Stokes tire is supposed to be lighter, and then obviously it has a brake system, which we don't currently have something like that. And then on May 4th, we're planning on doing our monthly training, and that's gonna be an info session on lessons learned from the large animal class that's going on right now. And then we've got a human tracking class that's gonna happen Saturday and Sunday this week. So we're gonna have like a little presentation for the members that weren't able to go to the training on May 4th at 1 o'clock. So anybody is welcome to attend that if they'd like. And I believe that's all I have for 7 and 8. But I do have, a concern I would like to bring up, see what the direction of everyone else is. So, you stated earlier that we're still operating off of the 2014 SOGs.
Correct.
Which call for having quorum for meetings. However, there's been discussion over the last year about, not having to meet quorum to vote on things. But on Tuesday, I found it, the optics were off when we only had 12 people sitting in the room to vote on nearly $30,000 worth of things for the dive team. And I don't know how other people are handling things like that. But since we don't have to have quorum, or that was what's been said, like I said, the optics are just off to me on that, to only have 12 people when you have 40 people on a roster. Voting for several $1,000s worth of stuff.
Individual squads are given $30,000 a year to handle, or y'all are given more. I think it's 37,000 to handle your expenditures over the year. What? And you say you have 40 members on a roster,
35 to 40, yeah, it's just a ballpark.
so are those all active members?
I mean, so a good amount of them were there for the special rescue meeting. And then several of them they were excused for the dive meeting because they had other things they had to attend to. And then just in general, we had some excuse for sickness or work or whatnot. So it was one of those meetings where it was just one of those days where we didn't have quite the amount of people that we normally do.
Dive or special rescue? Which organization are you talking about?
Specifically dive
Okay.
for Tuesday night. 'Cause there was a good amount of people for the first half, which is special rescue. And then, when it came time to the dive meeting, the room was really, really thin. But I don't know how, I don't know how other people have been told to operate as far as, even though 2014 SOGs say you need to have quorum, have you guys been operating with quorum on your other squads? Have you been told otherwise?
I haven't been told anything.
I'm kinda asking for maybe opinions and facts at the moment, so, cause I just I don't know, like I said, I thought it was, distasteful.
We
We haven't
usually
had
have,
that problem in our squad. We haven't had that problem. We have enough
we
people
usually have
present.
quorum too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
don't
have
have enough people
quorum.
at our meetings that we can vote on.
And that's when I tell squads to look at your roster. Having a name on a roster and a T-shirt does not make you a member.
Oh,
Is this person actively training and actively responding to calls?
so I'm in charge of the roster as far as, seeing who's doing what and whatever, and I usually keep a pretty close look at who's completing what and who's maybe new, because we do have several new people that, you know, are getting up to speed, right?
But if they're probationary members, are they voting members until you fully vote them in?
So I think the way the SOG is written, once you're voted in, you're a probationary member, but you can vote. I'll have to go back and look, but I think that's the way we've been.
Some squads look at that differently.
I'm pretty sure that's the way we are. Once you're voted in,
You can.
you're a member.
But if you're on probation, you cannot
No.
vote
But
for members, for officers. Correct?
So is it, let me ask you this,
I
is this
think
the
you're voting
first
to
you're
vote.
hearing about this, not having to meet quorum thing, or is this, like, is this the first you're hearing about it, or?
First, I don't deal with dive and special rescue.
Right,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
like I said, each individual squad handles their business meetings. At this time, there is no way for me to monitor unless I come to every single squad meeting and monitor your business. Quarterly, I get your bills and what you paid the previous 3 months to get your check.
right.
As long as those meet the guidelines of the county, that's it. Now, how your squad operates, you know, and you have concerns, I can bring those up to Chief Smith and Chief Crine.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is currently we're the only ones that have been supposedly told not to operate by quorum. Everybody else is operating by quorum, or just don't have that issue.
We don't usually have that issue because we usually have
Most
a
everybody.
quorum there, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that issue.
we generally have enough at Rescue 5 for sure to do, have our business and vote.
Okay. We've ran into it, I would say several times since January, but like I said, there's, whether it's true or not, or whatnot, there's said there that quorum doesn't have to be met, and I don't know, I just find that odd since we're still operating under the SOGs that say you have to have quorum.
At that point, then that would probably, in my opinion, that would fall back on the leadership of that individual squad to either uphold or say one way or the other. I mean, the county, if the SOGs are stating you must have a quorum to conduct business, as far as that goes, then I would say that'd be up to the chief or the leadership, the officers to come in and say, hey, we didn't meet, we don't have enough people to vote on this tonight, can we table it? Unless it's an emergency situation, basically whoever you have as your board, or you can, there's ways you can go about it that way, but just at a regular meeting, I would say that would have to fall under either the chief or officers of the board, however you're set up.
Okay. I was just curious of, how others were operating or whatnot. Like I said, it was kinda odd to vote on a lot of money when there was not very many people in the room. So,
Anything else? Okay. Mr. Jackman's not here. Do you have anything else, Chief Carroll?
No, I don't.
Okay. So no need for executive session tonight, as I understand. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Okay. Meeting adjourned.